So it's good afternoon. I think for last two meetings of ours, we are wishing each other good afternoon only. And concurrent viewers at this moment are 17. I do understand your exam is there close by, but well, even today's class would have been a bit more helpful to those who are still to join. But I wish you, other people, come and join your class quickly. So today I'm not going to take much of your time, but I'm just going to throw light on some important issues, and you can utilize even today's class for putting your questions to me, and I'm there at the chat box, giving answers to your question. I hope my voice is reaching you. Any one of you can put it here. Yeah, I'm audible. Whether I'm audible, you can just give me an answer in the chat box. Can you hear me? Just give me a reply over here. Yeah, audible, thank you. So that's fine. I can now start giving you something which I want to discuss with you for today. Well, this is a descriptive examination, and in the last one we had objective type. So it was a different scenario, and therein you were able to put only the relevant answer with just a tick, and it was more than sufficient for you. But now it is something about descriptive. So it is just like the examination that you generally have in your regular setup of physical classroom. It is just in the same fashion today's examination is going to take place. So again, certain things that you need to take care of. You will have to write very legibly, I mean to say very clearly. Don't make any mistake in spelling, or avoid error in grammar. That would be quite beneficial to you. Be very clear about the facts of a particular chapter, and you have got not many chapters, 2 chapters and 1 poem. The poem is Keeping Quiet, and the chapters are these 2, The Enemy and Should Reserve at Morning. Well, in our last class, believing that we may not get any other class, so in the last class we had discussed maximum of it. So I just see only 24 people watching this class at this moment. Well, it should definitely increase. Your classroom strength is very high. 133 students are there. Not even 33 is, they are seen over there. And as you are putting your attendance with your roll number, that is exactly we want. Fine. Now, coming on to as to how we are going to deal with, of course, we have not given you in the portion something about any writing skill. There is no letter to be asked, there is no notice writing to be asked, nothing like that. Only based on the chapters your test is going to take place today. The question and its tense, you will always have to pay attention to its answer as it is required there in the question. Suppose it is in the simple past tense, you need to give your response in the simple past tense only. If it is in the simple present tense, kindly put your answer in the simple present tense. So this is something very, very important, extremely necessary from the point of view of your preparation for the board examination. So this is how you had to be paying attention to these things. But I believe after a long time you are writing an examination, so in that case you also paid it. One thing I would like to assure it to you, the paper is not going to be very tough for you. It is whatever is major area of a chapter, that is going to be asked in the examination. So you should not miss the major concepts of the chapter, or the major incidents of the chapter, or major events of the chapter, and you should be able to handle. You would be able to handle all that. Well, let me tell you, there would be one unseen passage, as it is always there for the standard. Generally, we give you one passage. It is a bit lengthy, that you can understand. It can be, but the questions are only 1 mark questions. 1 or 2 of them would be multiple choice questions. So they will not pose you much of difficulty. But I wish you read that extract very carefully. And earlier also, as we have discussed in our regular classrooms, that before you read the text, I mean to say the extract, you have to read the questions. This gives us the benefit to frame our idea, our opinion as to how it is going, as to how the line of the passage is, what the idea is included there in the passage, that we are able to understand. And therefore, you must, I believe, it is my opinion, you can choose any. You read the questions, you will have an idea what is all you are looking for, and with that you will be able to handle the requirement of the question. You might have that information already there in your mind, what you are searching for there in the passage, and you will be locating all that. So when you are locating, just put a mark or just remember this is what is your probable answer. And once you finish one reading of the extract, again read your question, verify it, and then you can go for your final answer. So the questions for extract, of course, would be easy, but length is generally, as it is decided for 12th standard, it may go a little lengthier. So you should not get disturbed because of that. And next other important thing I need to say is poem is only one, and from the poem, the extract is generally asked for 4 marks. So 4 marks are for sure for you. You have to read the poem, try to understand. I'll just cover up some idea of the poem again, but prior to that, I'm just giving you an overall idea of total examination. Next, there will be short answer questions, maybe of 3 marks. So some 5 questions might be there. So for 15 marks, that question will be there. Based on your chapters, you just focus on your chapters, and the smaller details of the chapters will be retrieved from you for the exam point of view. There you don't have to be very lengthy. I think word limit would be given to you, 50 words. So see, your time of examination is 90 minutes. It is 1 hour 30 minutes. So I think it is more than sufficient. Anyways, not to get disturbed. So concurrent viewer at this moment are 34. It's a good number, and I hope this increases. Well, next point, as we discuss here, a short answer question, 50 words, maybe the maximum limit. So you can limit your answer. I can give you one more, idea to you as to how you can begin your answer. See, just like in a childish manner, the writer says this, that, nothing like that you will have to say. But directly what the answer is, you have to attack on the answer itself. You give your first important answer. Generally what happens whenever you write an essay, so you give it a background to your essay, and then you speak up important idea, then you close it down. For this kind of answers, you don't have too much, very short questions are there. So don't wait for second point important one. You put your first important or most important idea in the first place itself. In the second one, you can just write down lesser important idea. In the third one, even lesser. Like this, you should prioritize. That is in the descending order of importance. First, the topmost, then the lesser, and after that, the least one. Like this, you must write the answer. So this idea is not only for 2 marks question, it is also for bigger questions, maybe for 6 marks. So longer question length may be 150 words. Suppose you feel 150 words are not enough for you and you want more to write, there is no restriction on it. You can just write for another some 10 to 20 words. That means one other 2 more sentences or 3 more sentences you can write down. Next, I think more important will turn out to be, after doing all this work, is you will have to capture a very clear picture of your whatever the answers you have given. So the choice of pen, the color of pen, and also where you are taking the photograph and its clarity. All those things will be very so important. So kindly pay attention to these smaller details. Now, I'll just focus on certain things from the chapter, the enemy. Of course, in the last class we discussed, but I would like to focus on certain more things. I think we already discussed something about the Sadao and his childhood. So what we tried to understand from Sadao's childhood, he was grown up in an area which was surrounded by the water bodies. It was more natural scene all around, and there were rocks and seashore was there. There may be some more trees, something like that is the natural environment. Something about the father's attitude towards Sadao. So father did not want his son to get more pampered because he was the only child. It was not so. Though the child was only one, but he had a long goal in his mind. He did not want his son to get spoiled, or he did not want him to give an impression that by being a very caring father to him, all his life, his father would be there with him to get him rid of all the difficulties. That was not there on the mind of Sadao's father. So he exposed him to all difficulties, all tough times, and by that he wanted to shape the character of Sadao, so that in the times to come, that is in the future time, if Sadao had to face such difficult time all on his own, and there is nobody, none of his parents are there, so he should be able to handle such a tough time. For that, he had exposed him to the rough sea, and to say the seashore and all, and he had given him the toughest kind of training. So in that matter, the father must have been a little harsher. But the aim was, or the longer goal was, to make the father, make the child very comfortable to face the difficult times. That generally comes. We cannot deny all that. Next, then we talk about Hana and her, you can say total support to her husband. So Hana has to come to know that both of them had met there in America and American professor's home, and still Sadao, of course, felt like falling in love with the girl at first sight. He had little control over his emotion, and it's only when he was little sure of his, you can say, identity of this girl as the Japanese. He proposed this into his father, that this is the girl and he would like to get married. Of course, when the story begins, both of them are happily married. She is also a doctor, but here you understand, Sadao takes that, you can say, the lead of the family, and he is recognized as a great surgeon, and Sadao's wife, Hana, is always cooperative. And though they understand that keeping the American soldier at home would turn out to be a difficult situation for them, but she backs him up and extends all the help, taking care of this fellow, that American fellow, American soldier. I see some names over here, Sadhika, Harsh, but you are not writing your roll number. Kindly write your roll number 2. That is important for us to look it out, quite clearly. The same thing is also expected. You will get a notification there when you write your examination. Okay, this is something which is required. You need to put it quite clearly. Next point I want to insist on, that Hana was a perfect better half of Sadao, and she would always cooperate with him in all his work. It may be good deed, or you can say on a tough time. So she would always be standing by. The American soldier, the prisoner of war, stayed there in their own house. This woman, took care of that fellow because he was just like a patient for them. So such patient needed nursing, and servants had already left them. That is why she did not mind it. She started continuing giving all her services to this man. Next aspect of their life we understand is both of them were humanitarian in their approach. This point we had discussed in our last class, and we gave more prominence to this aspect. Though they were doctors, this is one point quite important for us to understand. As they were doctors, they would save the patient. But the patient is not somebody of the kind who would not give them any problem. He was someone who was their enemy, and that could have been, more difficult. That could have been tougher for them to handle the situation in case any such kind of reporting takes place by the servants to the officials. So they would face more of difficult time. Still, on the grounds of humanity, this man, if has survived all this, maybe the injury of the bullet and maybe the rough sea he has survived. So it is his destiny that he must survive, and that is why, even though Sadao explains to the general that there is this kind of fellow there in their house and was wounded, and so he has given him a kind of treatment which is required for any patient. He has somewhere there on his mind going on, if he survives, that's good. So he helps him out, get rid of that place, gives him food, gives him his small boat, also gives his doctor's torch, helmet, on the helmet the torch is there, all that he gives and guides him that which way he takes and where he can on which island he can be, and in case of need how he can give the torch, whether it should be in the daytime or night time, all that you have to check it out. So this aspect of humanity, though somewhere there on their mind is there their patriotic feelings, whether they are sacrificing, but it was not so because every time they had gone to him, so they had only one thing on their mind: that fellow is their enemy. But apart from that, they felt it would be quite good to just get him all right, and because he is just a human being who needs this help, and that's what they had done at that time. Next is the role of the general over there. So what kind of role does he have over there? By the entry of this, general, we understand there might be tough time to Sadao and his family because he is kept over there and he is not sent with the troops to treat the wounded soldiers. Therefore, he felt, we understand or we believe that it is possible in the time to come there in the story, the general would turn out to be very ruthless. But to all our surprise, it seems, though he was very, you can say, a crazy sort of fellow, not exactly crazy, but moody, you can say. So he gives one reply whenever the moment Sadao says that there is a soldier like this in their house and he is already over there and he has given the treatment. So he said, it doesn't matter if you want him to finish a job, so it's okay, I can get it done. I have got special assassins. One word is used over here, and that you can always make use of, an assassin. So there are special assassins who can, do that job for Sadao. They would come silently at night and without making much noise, they would kill that fellow and get rid of him in the body. Well, what we had expected when Sadao informs this situation to the general, we feel that he would be in trouble, or the general might scold him, or might even reprimand him. That's the same thing, giving a little harsh treatment to him. But that does not take place. He behaves differently. He understands probably. It is maybe he had acted just as any doctor must do. But later on, he understands that now it's time for the general that he must help, whatever the help was to be done. And after the episode is over, when that American soldier is gone from there, so Sadao, when informs, that man says, the general says, it's my mistake. I should not have, been so lethargic or so careless. I had promised you that I would get you rid of this issue, this problem, but I failed to do so. Anyways, it is my mistake, and that may be his destiny that he could escape. So, like that, the story ends. Well, from here also we understand the role of this general as element of surprise or element of changing the mode that comes over here. Next, I understand the role of the servants. We understand because here, when the servants decide to leave both of them, that is, I think, the big point of one's emotion. If for a long time they had been serving and their kids were very small, and still those servants who had been so faithful to them for those many years, they still want to get rid of these soldiers. I mean to say Sadao and the family. The reason is quite simple. They don't want to be a part of this kind of crime, according to them. That crime of looking after or nursing or taking care of their enemy. That is this fellow, I mean to say the American wounded soldier of war. And their role that makes us realize they also somewhere feel like that lady. She also felt somewhere, and then when she proposes to Hana, in case the children do not sleep, you know my place, you can just send me a message, I will come down. But they cannot risk their lives also. That is one important thing that we must understand. And by that we also get to understand that there is a compare and contrast in two different thoughts that we can make. Hana Chandra says, if our servants can understand that this is not correct on our part, on their part to do any service to their enemy, and why shouldn't we understand? That is also our duty, that we should not look after or nurse such fellow who is our enemy. So here we get a complete contrast. If they are more patriotic than these fellows. Well, the doctors, both of them, especially Sadao, he was more humanitarian in nature that even the servants could not understand. Sometimes, even Hana could not understand that. So this humanitarian aspect of Sadao's personality is project worthy, I believe. Fine. Now, something on this chapter, I think it is enough. Next, if we take is issued wizard with mommy. So here the character of Jo, this is a small girl, and as she is growing up, so she is also growing her in her intellect. She is becoming more intelligent. She is asking such questions to her father surprise every now and then, somewhat like why this whether magic spells are real or whether fairies are actually there, whether they fly or not. And then getting her doubts cleared from another person. Like the mother tells one thing, then she gets cleared from her father, or she wants to get the reassurance from another person. And vice versa, when the father says something, she approaches her mother and just she wants to find out, is it really that ultimately these things are real or not. So this is her growing mind, her growing intellect. She is not quite so old, maybe 4 years of age or so. You can check it out, the age in the text. I might not have been very accurate about it. Next is the whole story actually revolves around one character called Roger, and in this story it is Roger's son. So what are other characters? But you can also pay attention to Roger's son story, how it starts, and how Roger's son was not made to get mixed up with other woodland creatures. That also you can pay attention to, and therefore what he feels like, what is his wish, that he wants to smell like roses, and who he approaches then, he approaches the owl, then he goes to a person because he is guided by the owl to go there, who he goes to the wizard. So now the wizard becomes an important character here. Then what wizard actually looks like and how his home is like, smaller details. Major thing is like when he gets him changed, the routine, getting some amount, some 5 pennies or something that he has to pay. So that amount of money, always that Roger, this character would not have. Then he would be sent to one place, there he would find one well, and therein that remaining amount of money would be seen. And this when money is given back to the wizard, so his job is done, now he can happily go back. Here happily he goes, all the woodland creatures actually play with him, enjoy with him. He himself is quite so happy because everybody becomes friendly with him. They all play with him. This is something very commonly actually takes place with him. Next, what happens, when he goes home, the mother's son does not like him, and here is the turn that takes place in the story. And here Jo will show more of surprise. This surprise is shown, and that what we can understand is, this is something which was not there in the imagination of Jo, because all the stories ended when happy ending was there, but now this was the extension of the father's own logic. And here we say that autobiographical element is there. The father himself must have undergone some tough time or some humiliations in his life, and so when he had extended that story, he did not feel, or you can say, Jo, he did not believe that Jo would throw this kind of surprises at him, but she does, and she is not ready for the change back for the skull to take place. Mother's son takes the skull, takes him directly to the wizard, hits him on his head, and therefore should his wizard hit mommy. This is what there on the girl's mind, on Jo's mind, and she feels nobody has done it so far. That wizard is the only powerful character there, and whatever he does it's the final. So this is, you can say, a fixation of mind of a child. But here, in reality, something else might take place, and that's what is reflected there in the story. But the girl is not quite so happy. Father says, no, it's not like that. there is an intention of the father to tell this story. Because what is the intention? He wants to tell that sometimes children are not able to understand what is right for them. They are not able to choose correct thing for them. But the parents and elderly people are able to understand so. And she gets the smell of Roger's skunk back from the wizard and takes him back. Well, one more thing we understand over here, and that is, eh, after some time, when the Roger skunk goes back with other, woodland creatures, so whether he is accepted by all other woodland creatures, so answer becomes yes. You know why? Because the essential point is meant over here. We are not supposed to change our personality only for someone else's sake, because they want us to behave like that, they want us to act like that, so we must change every time, the way we are guided or the way we are told or the way we are expected. That should not happen. This is what I believe is one more important moral of the story. It is, we are not supposed to, or we should not actually change our personality for somebody else. People will either accept us initially or not, but gradually they will become quite used to it and things might go happy. So these two perspectives, one perspective is the perspective of a child and another perspective is the perspective of an adult person. So these two perspectives are important, I believe, in the story. So from these 2 points of view, when you see the whole episode taking place, I think this will help you writing your examination. Now, just coming down to the poem, keeping quiet, the poet makes us count up to 12. This we must understand why he does so. It is essentially because in our routine life, because in our daily life, we do not get enough time to pause for some time or take a long breath and just think about ourselves. Hardly is there any time because we are lost in everyday's routine so much. Therefore, he tells us a technique. You make a conscious effort, you count up to 12, and you see there might be some change in you. You will find that most people, those who have never get a chance to look at their hurt hands or their own condition, or also reflect on the situation. For example, he says about the fisherman. Fishermen would not be, harming the water body, and they would not fish or they would not do any harm to the whales and all. Practical, I would say, the details of it. So when all these things are told, what do we understand? When we make a conscious effort or consciously do we think about the whole situation, we are able to understand certain things which were never revealed to us, which we never thought that they are important for us, but they turned out to be so crucial. So this is a special technique. You also should understand the writer is from the background wherein he has won the Nobel Prize for his effective writing. Well, the poem is not tough, the writing is not tough, but the idea, is quite so important. And that is his beauty, I must say. In very simple words, is he able to put such a great idea? And later on he says, you just be there, and then one more important thing is there. He talks about those people who are engaged in making war. So this poem actually gives the message of maintaining peace. How, we can just habit in the whole world. Those leaders, those who wear white color of dress and all, so they are not always the honest people, or they are instead engaged in something wrong doing. Instead, they are engaged in. So what is they are engaged in? They are engaged in the production of weapons, and this, according to the poet, is something harmful for the whole race of humanity, and that's why the poet says somewhere what they would be ultimately left with. They will be left with bare hands. They themselves would be there, nothing else would be there. No human being would be found over there. So such is the poet's opinion. I think this he says it is possible way to understand only when we can just keep mum, only when we keep quiet for some time. This thing I think we should pay attention to, and I think that is the idea of the whole poem. It's not always by speaking our job is done. Sometimes we have to be quiet, and that silence can sometimes convey a lot of meaning to us. I think for revision, this is quite sufficient, but I am still there waiting here. If there is any doubt of yours, I am at the chat box. You can give me your response. Any of your response, any of your requirement is there, that I can help you out with, that you can tell me. Is there anything that I can help you out with? You can just let me know. Yeah, Aman says, sir, so anything, Aman, you want to say? Do you want to know anything from me? Well, I think portion we have already discussed at length, questions also we have discussed at length, and I think so far I do not find any question for me. So is it okay that, shall I understand that, what is the meaning of white clothes? Yes, I was giving this answer to Aman. Aman, sir, Aman, the meaning of this is actually white represents purity, it represents serenity, it also represents peace, and they wear this white color of clothes which is representative of peace and something good. But what happens actually there, they do something quite wrong, which is negative in the sense they are engaged in the production of armaments, weapons. So it is something quite so negative. That is the meaning of that. So Varsha says, sir, is there no writing section? Yeah, Varsha, there is no writing section. I made it clear. Only the chapters, 2 chapters and 1 poem, only based on that, and one unseen passage would be there. Sir, is there any question of 6 marks in writing skill? There is no question on writing skill, Divyansh. Just now I asked, gave the answer. So there will be one big question or two some lengthy questions, long questions that we need as. There would be only based on the text. Again, any other question is there from your end? It seems nothing is there. Fine. So, shall I say goodbye to you for today? Okay. And all the best. Do your work the best and make the clear picture and set it properly. So, one question I got, it is from Lakshika Manuja. Fishermen in cold sea means. So, fishermen, like in any water bodies, the fishermen, catch fish. So, it is just cold sea, it refers to the sea which is cold. That's it. But fishermen there, what is their job? Only to catch the fish. And when you catch the fish, what happens? You are actually disturbing the nature. You are also harming one, you can say, one creature of nature. That is what the poet wants to convey. And when you think, very logically and very peacefully, so you may not even harm even the fishes there. So whatever is there or whatever inside the water is there, all that life would be safe. So cold sea is just for adjective is cold, and it is the sea, and cold refers to in that cold sea maybe more life is there, and that you do not harm. That is the meaning, Lakshita. Any other query? Okay, Lakshita, okay. So, shall I bid goodbye now? Okay, chalo, bye-bye.